Trash Can Fam, we need to know who you are.
Hey everybody, we're getting into the fall season, so we got all kinds of exciting topics coming up. We thank you for sticking with us so far, but this winter, what are we going to get into? Who knows? It's going to be family traditions around Thanksgiving time, 4 Christmases, and all those adventures. What else, babe?
The election.
Oh, the election.
Yeah, so we are going to be talking about the election on our next episode. We weren't going to. We were going to remain Switzerland, but you're going to hear all about it.
We're not going to be telling you our political ideals, but we're going to talk about elections. We're going to talk about the candidates. We're going to talk about all the fun stuff that's coming up. So be sure to check out.
It's election season. So we wanted to try something a little bit different while we were recording this time. Went live on TikTok and recorded our reaction to the Trump rally in New York. So I'll be putting clips of that on social media all week. But in the meantime, I realized that we didn't properly intro episode 7, which is not like us. And there was one other thing that I caught while I was running through the episode. We did not talk about food. So, in keeping with tradition and bringing food into this episode, I'm actually going to give you a callback to a previous recording that we did that was never released. Let's just say that recording took place in July. And here's what Scott had to say.
Now, I don't know. Le choy? La soy.
It's a full scope food conversation. How do we start with this? Okay, the only thing that we're going to say about the elephant in the room, which is what happened in Butler, PA yesterday, the only thing that we're going to say about it is, Scott's, I think they have a really good pizza joint in Butler, Pennsylvania.
No, that's not what I said. So the shooter, the attempted Trump shooter, was from Bethel Park, which is another suburb of Pittsburgh. And there's a really good pizza place out there. Shout out, I can't remember the name, but it's good. I've never been there, but I know by reading Facebook comments how good a pizza place is going to be at. It's like an innate ability that I have that it just transcends space and time, that I'm able to sense the way people are talking about pizza, whether or not it will truly be good. And I want to go there now because the guy, the shooter, he was from there. And I think that he probably ate pizza there. I think that maybe has something to do with it because that pizza is just so good it got him fired up.
Perhaps. Babe.
Yeah.
Political season.
Political season. Changes scenery at the White House and for the podcast.
And for the podcast,
as you can see, we're hanging in our living room today.
We're hanging in the living room.
Because we felt like it.
We felt like it. Because it's that kind of weekend. We've been packing a lot of stuff in.
Yep, and we just got done watching 4 hours of Trump rally.
Oh, yeah.
It
was good.
Tony Hinchcliffe murdered.
Yeah.
He was the best one, as expected.
Yeah.
Apparently the first one. He went up after the national anthem.
Yeah, we missed it.
Yeah, we were en route.
En route.
Because we were out doing some things. Home Depot.
Got to meet our baby great nephew, Grace.
Yeah. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, he's our great nephew.
Whoa. We got a cat freaking out.
She's
doing something over there, and it's not going to be good.
She's having an allergy attack or something.
She's having something.
I'm allergic to my cats. They're allergic to me.
But that was probably one of the better rallies. They had heavy hitters.
Yeah.
They brought them all out. Dana White, all the Trump's kids.
Yeah.
Who else was out there? I can't even remember. Elon,
but the guy.
Oh, yeah, the financial.
Yeah, the financial guy.
Yeah.
He
was fired up.
Yeah, he was fired up.
I
cried a little bit during
his company lost 680 people on 9/11.
At 9/11.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that's.
And they were based in the World Trade Center, so that's why.
But talk about crazy luck, he wasn't there because he was dropping his kid off at school.
But
Hey, good dad
then
for
his
dropping-
company, everybody donated 25% of their paychecks. They got some serious paychecks going on in that company, buddy.
Yeah,
because
sure.
they got $180 million to give to their families. That's like
a powerful story that why did I never hear about that?
Usually when you hear money being raised for charities, the other day at that Al Smith thing, there was like $15 million or something.
And there was heavy hitters in that?
Yeah. But $180 million. So that tells you they were doing well with that company. It's big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
But obviously they're giving back too, which is...
Yeah, for sure.
Those are the kind of millionaires and billionaires that Trump surrounds himself with. I think, I don't want to bite the apple too hard. Do you know what I mean?
I don't necessarily trust any billionaires, but...
Right, exactly. I'm going to clip in some of the stuff from my walk away video, but I was a never Trumper for 8 years. And it was bad. I had Trump derangement syndrome. It was horrible. I was horrible. I was a horrible human being to people. Move your camera up because your camera is clipped right on. It's clean.
Yeah, I do.
But wait till you turn your camera back on.
Sorry.
I can talk. But I unfriended a lot of people on socials. I was going in with all the stupid memes and repeating all the false rhetoric and...
Right, I didn't engage in any of that. I just...
No. He just watched me slowly descend into insanity and never said a word and let me destroy bridges.
I'm not one to censor. I believe that I'm a big First Amendment guy. You know that about me. I don't ever get anybody for what they think. I don't try to fight it. What's the point in that? You're never gonna, But
before Barack Obama, I would have said, and I probably said repeatedly, that I was in the middle. I was very independent and we were just young, living life, trying to get the kids through high school. So there was 8 years of Barack Obama where things were there was no noise.
Yeah, that was the last time that there was because you didn't even really care about the political process. You didn't pay that much attention to it. You only voted. It didn't even really matter.
I voted for Barack Obama because I literally felt like I was participating in a movement for change. And then after 8 years, it felt like the same old United States. And I was like, okay, I'm not falling for that emotional bullshit anymore. And then...
See, I guess I just always had that perspective in the sense of I didn't notice any difference between, say, the Clinton presidency and the Bush presidency.
But I was also when you're in your 20s, it doesn't matter because you're just working.
That's what I'm saying. None of it
doesn't start to matter until you get into a position where your money has more power as you're able to buy a house and stuff like that.
Perhaps, but I just don't think that the politics mattered that much prior.
People weren't talking about
I don't think that because that's what I'm saying. There wasn't this huge gap between the left and the right. Do you know what I'm saying? For the most part, it was the pendulum would swing a little bit, but not. It wasn't like it is now, where it's like a wide gap.
Right. And because when Bush Jr. won, I wasn't devastated. I didn't get.
There's virtually no difference. So if you look at the presidencies of, say, after Nixon, do you know what I mean? It's like a slew all the way up through Obama of it's not radical politics at any point.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of mixed, the presidency would be Republican, the House would be Democrat.
Right.
Or vice versa. There was a lot of balance. There
was a lot of balance of power.
And I don't think that really there wasn't any crazy, I said, the pendulum might swing a little one way or the other, but for the most part, it just wasn't that big of a... People weren't riled up about it because basically at the end of the day, everything that was going to needed to get done would get done. Do you know what I mean? And so people it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
But then all hell broke loose. With social media, And then
right, when Hillary ran, all hell broke loose because then there was this move towards her. I'm with her. Identity politics.
And somewhat, I think that it just so many factors because I feel like it was.
No, so I told you the other night. So Scott likes to watch History Channel and all that stuff in the middle of the night when I'm sleeping. And sometimes when I have a hard time sleeping, I'll wake up and just watch whatever's on. And the 70s were on the other night. And I'm so angry. I wish I could go back. That feminist movement in the 70s is the cause of this spiral of.
No, it's this. It's the movement of. It's the whole.
It's identity politics, all of it.
Yeah, and it's the beginning. Really, it takes its root in like good things, like I talked about. Like George Carlin foresaw all this. The great prophet George Carlin saw this. I'm gonna start referring to him like that. How like the Nation of Islam is like the honorable father of Elijah Muhammad or whatever.
Right.
Because I'm going to start saying that because I started a religion called Carlinism. But I'm going to start saying that the great and honorable prophet George Carlin taught us that he foresaw this happening. And it played out like a playbook where things like it was an obsession about children, self-esteem, the self-esteem movement. That's what he calls it. The self-esteem, this idea that you have to feel good or that somehow your life is of no value.
Which is crazy because in trying to promote self-esteem in this last 25 years, I would say.
No, 50.
We've increased depression.
50 years.
Because it's unattainable. We're participation trophy culture. When you win and you get a trophy and you feel those levels of serotonin for the or the dopamine or whatever you're getting from winning, you don't get that with a participation trophy. It's meh. The kids that are getting the participation trophies understand that it is such at 6, right? You're not getting the level of rush, the excitement from it. And so we've created depression because by winning everything, you're increasing the gap to what it takes to get happy. Get the fuck out of here. I hate people. I do.
But that's what it's all born out of the self-esteem movement. And that's where like this feeling that, like I said, that, and it really boils down to, and he breaks it down. He was like, if we can agree that not every adult is special, which everybody can agree on.
Not every adult is special.
But yet we tell every child that they're special. So at what point do they go from being special
to not
so special?
Yeah.
And that's a transition that we chose to make everybody feel special, regardless of whatever. And like I said,
and when you're transitioning into an adult, you become a big old nobody in the adult world. The need to feel special, you start moving the goalposts on what special is.
And like I said, with the whole self-esteem thing, that's what this is really born out of, in the sense of that you deserve to feel good all the time as your level of happiness is your value in the world, which is just not the way that it is.
No.
You're not going to be happy all the time. You're not going to be feeling good all the time. The world is a harsh, cruel place.
That's why there's drugs and alcohol.
That's exactly right.
Which we're going to be doing in an upcoming episode, by the way.
And the great and powerful prophet George Carlin tells us in Complaints and Grievances, chapter 1, verse 12. No, I just wanted to say that. But
sorry, Big Ed, I'm working right now.
Big Ed. Big Ed.
It's someone else's live. I'll come over later, boys.
Big Ed. I need to be worried. Big Ed.
No. No, he's part of the AFS family. So let's talk about that because we are going to get into it a little bit.
Internet groups.
We're live on social media, so some of my family might be in here. I don't have my glasses on. I cannot see the comments. It could be a total shit show in the comments right now. I have zero clue. I'm not saying I don't need mods, but we're just recording our podcast right now. So if someone shuts us down, we'll go into our camera and record from our phone and y'all just won't get to see it. So if you don't behave, that's on you. In the meantime, let's talk about, so I don't want to get too far in the weeds on how we got here because that's part of other podcasts.
Sure.
But essentially like March of this year, we started putting into motion a game plan for Scott to become a stand-up comic, Alana B to become a content creator, and then the both of us to have a podcast. So here we are. However, we came back from Nashville in end of April, and that's when we had enough content to start putting things out in social media. And so we did. And so I finally gave in after years of saying I'm never going on TikTok. It's a propaganda machine. I don't want to be there. And I got on TikTok, and one of our first lives, everybody's, who you're voting for, who you voting for. It wasn't even a political live. It was just like me being live. And I was like, I'm Switzerland, because I didn't want to jeopardize the future of our brand by making any public statements on who we were voting for. I'm not here to influence anybody else's vote. It's none of my business who you vote for. And I don't feel the need to be liked by everybody. I think Gilded Trash probably speaks more to the right than it does the left. And I'm not picking and choosing.
Yeah, nowadays.
Yeah.
Nowadays, just because I think personally, to me, as somebody that's probably, if you look at my politics, like really break it down, I'm actually, and I'm not going to share them here because it's pretty extreme. But I'm probably extreme leftist politics. Actually, I believe in no politics.
Right.
I'm truly an anarchist in the greatest sense of the word.
All that making fun of me you did on previous episodes of the podcast, you're the anarchist.
Oh, no, for real, though. And I could quote, there's one of my favorite things is like, whatever. But anarchism is the freedom from government, the freedom from religion, the freedom from capitalism, and based on the free grouping of individuals and ideas to create a better society without any of those things, which is extreme leftist ideology. However, in a practical, I also realize that's totally unobtainable. That's not the world that we live in.
Right.
That's a fantasy. But what I believe in is freedom, ultimate freedom for everybody. But now the left has totally been hijacked by people that want less freedom. They want censorship. They want control. They want all this, we'll call it like virtue signaling type stuff. And that's just not what I represent at all. So I'm so against that. That's why I'm voting for Donald Trump.
That's exactly, and I think that's how I got here. Like my ideology as far as mine has always been live and let live. I don't care about your sexual orientation. I don't care about your educational background. I don't care about what money you have or don't have. If you are a real human being, then I'm going to gel with you no matter what your political beliefs are. If I believe that you're brainwashed or that you've been duped by propaganda, we're probably not going to be friends anyway, because I like to surround myself with intelligent people. That's neither here nor there. That's not a left or a right thing. There are people that are brainwashed to believe a certain thing on the right. There are people brainwashed to believe a certain thing on the left.
Right.
It has nothing to do with politics per se. People are easily...
I've often, again, to quote the great and powerful prophet George Carlin, that, like, this whole thing, this shit that we shuffle around every 4 years is meaningless. This country was bought and paid and sold a long time ago. Bought and sold and paid for a long time ago. And it's a big club, and we're not in it. And this...
Hold on a second.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check us out on YouTube, on...
At Gilded Trash on YouTube. And check out the website. I've been doing a little bit of maintenance under the hood to make it fancier. Links to all of our other external applications.
Yep, you can find it all there at gildedtrash.com.
Sorry. You can continue that diatribe.
But yeah, so I view it as like it's two sides of the same coin a lot of times. And
I'm Mexican.
Do you care to share what you are? You're not Mexican.
I'm 52% Irish, 24% Polish, 2% Balkan Greek, 0.5% Asian, 0.5% Mongolian.
But here, the bottom point is there's nowhere in there is there any sort of Hispanic heritage. And the other side of that, too, though, the funny part is,
I just happen to be hot.
We talked about this before. You get mistaken.
Always. People think I'm Latina all the time.
So much so at truck stops. When we're around people that don't speak English and they see her and they're in a situation where they're trying to communicate to somebody, they often lean to you. Because they're like, here looks like a lady who speaks
Spanish, and I don't. Sorry. No, it's not me. I wish I did, and I feel stupid for not pursuing another language. I took German in high school. But, yeah, like, I'm just something I got to do.
I'd like to learn German.
German's easy to learn.
My ancestral language.
My child is learning German and Spanish and French all at once.
In the communist revolutionary bookstores in the 1960s, you could get copies of anything you wanted to read in multiple languages.
And you only know this why?
Eric Weinstein,
the great and powerful.
Who's
the second great prophet.
Yeah, Eric Weinstein is one of my favorite people to listen to. Very smart.
He's a very smart guy, and don't be embarrassed about that. He's very
No,
smart.
I'm not embarrassed. But
back to social media.
Back to social media and politics.
So how did we get here?
Yeah.
So
how did we get off on that?
Again, we were saying that we were Switzerland politically, and then I don't know. It was like it was a crazy series of events because there were things that I was putting on the book of face that were not getting any traction, and then I think right after that, the article came out about Zuckerberg admitting that they were suppressing some right ideologies, which I wouldn't have considered myself right even then. And then whenever the attempt on Trump happened, I was upset because I didn't think it was a lone individual. I believe that it's coming from some powers that be politically, and that's just my opinion. Obviously, this is just for entertainment. However, when I saw people that I actually thought that I respected and that I thought that I liked and that I thought that I cared about saying that they were sad that the person missed, I realized that we had a much bigger problem on our hands than who was going to be the president, and it is
That's how it's so serious.
The breakdown of American society right now and the brainwashing that's happening through the propaganda of the mainstream media. And I had been deprogrammed from mainstream media for the last 4 years because once Biden won, I turned off the news. I was like, I'm done with it. I had been drained. I was sick and tired and drained of all the emotion that was going on.
To me, I just think this is just a continuation of basically a big game that they've been playing for about 60, 70 years. And this is just like getting to they're finally seeing results.
It's like the final.
They're finally seeing results of things that they put in the work for long, long ago. In terms of brainwashing and stuff like that, the seeds were planted long ago.
Right.
And no, I firmly believe that. You know that I don't trust anybody. I don't trust the government. I don't trust business. I don't trust anybody. Yeah, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust any of it.
None of it.
All those people, the media, none of them. You shouldn't believe any of those people.
But so after being so like radically left for 8 years, it felt.
I don't think you were radically left. I think you were radical, but your ideals weren't radical left ideals. You're
right, because I've always been.
You were just, I don't know how to say it. You weren't radically left in your opinion. You were radical.
Sure.
In the sense, in your fervor.
In my fervor, in my Trump derangement syndrome, which was just against him. It had
Right.
nothing to do with policy.
Correct.
Dating back to 1993, you could ask me my stance on abortion, and I've always been pro-life for myself, but pro-choice for anybody else who needed it. Once it became birth control, I was done.
But the thing is, again, and that all comes out of this. Again, abortion, all that stuff comes out of the self-esteem movement, which comes this phrase, sanctity of life.
Right.
Which the great and powerful prophet George Carlin talks about
this
often.
This is not a political episode. This is a George Carlin recap.
And
folks.
No, because it applies so well that this term sanctity of life is basically we get to pick and choose which forms of life we think are sacred, and we get to kill the rest. And we made the whole fucking thing up, and it's made up, and here we are. And so even that aside, but the point being with all that talk of left, whatever, like most people, for most of our lives, we lean left on some issues, right on others, socially probably more liberal, fiscally more conservative, more
right,
like
on those policy
in the 90s would have been called compassionate conservatism.
Yeah.
And even like the Democratic Party of, say, the 1960s or 50s, that was more, the bar has so far been moved that if you were in the center before, which is where I would say that we were politically, if you just lined up our ideals because there was enough offsetting, you would say we were in the center. Nothing real crazy on either end. Nothing real crazy on either end. You didn't even see what I did.
Rage bait?
I said,
I was looking in the comments. Somebody's wanting to know if it's.
I said, nothing real crazy, just and but no, we didn't have any real. Like I said, there was not real any outliers. It was very centerish, but the bar where the center is now has been moved. That so far that even people that were Democrats who sometimes voted conservatively, that whole branch of the Democratic Party is gone. The center's in the middle. Like if the center is like way out there somewhere now. So even if you were left before, the bar's been so far moved that you now fall under this umbrella just because their politics have gotten so far left. Like in terms of just
fringe.
Yeah, fringe for sure.
And I've seen a lot of good social media posts about that recently, and a lot of people in that realm are being referred to as libertarians, but it's not the true libertarian sense of the word. It's just like the new word for the people who live in that space that you just described.
Bill Maher said it best, actually. And he is very critical of the left. We talk about this all the time.
He's critical enough of the left, but my problem with Bill Maher is that he pushed jokes too far to where they're not funny anymore.
We're not here to debate Bill Maher. All I'm saying is he's known for being left, but he is critical of the left.
Right.
That's what I'm getting at is in terms of popular left people, he is one of the few that criticizes the far left.
Right.
I'm saying nobody on the left does much criticism, so he is one of the few. Regardless of any of that, he said, don't become so tolerant that you tolerate intolerance. And that's what the left has really done.
Right.
Like with the Palestinian things on campus. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've become so tolerant that they now tolerate other people being intolerant
against things that should be,
right.
You should be
intolerant against. Yeah, exactly. And it's just a crazy flip-flop, and that's how we ended up over here.
Slightly center of left. But so there was, and I've talked about this before in previous videos and stuff like that, and it's not blowing smoke. There was a couple content creators that made me feel comfortable to come out of the political closet, per se, as actually, once I decided that I was voting for Trump, I saw the Theo Vaughn interview with Trump, and actually, and I've said this before, if you've heard a couple of my videos, you'll have heard me say this. I felt like I was in the upside down when I watched that video because I didn't realize how much humanity Trump really had. And he seemed very humble in the interview. I said it before, I was very proud of Theo Vaughn for not being like a goon like he sometimes tends to be. He was just enough to make it fun and entertaining. He asked the right questions. He asked some edgy questions, which I thought was cool too. But what really flipped me was seeing creators like John Paul King, who is Black and who basically, I don't want to say it.
The thing
it's okay to be annoyed by somebody just because they're human. And if they're Black, it's okay to say it out loud. It's not okay to hold your feelings just because of somebody's race. If I'm pissed off at somebody at work, their race doesn't hold me back from saying that they did something wrong at work. So why in social context would you hold back on saying something just because of someone's color? And that's where the whole censorship comes in. Like, I can't get mad at somebody on social media because race automatically becomes the issue even when it's not. And that's utter bullshit.
What I was going to say is the reason that you felt uncomfortable about saying all that stuff is because the left is much more critical if you don't go along with everything that they say.
You're cut off immediately.
You can't disagree on one thing out of the whole package.
Exactly.
It's all or nothing. It's a zero-sum game.
Exactly. I've been called every name in the book. I have, but I deserve it because I did that to other people whenever I was radically left. I can take it. Being called names doesn't bother me because I'm very confident in who I am. Like, I know I might go a little ham sometimes, but just because people need to be put in their place, it's not because they hurt my feelings. And you're exactly right, though. Once I came out as MAGA, I was shut off from certain people. This one bitch had the nerve to say to me, be careful what I say, because she was on the fence with me. If you're on the fence with me, you were never my person to begin with.
But this brings it to a greater point of, I've never cared what my friends' political beliefs are. Do you know what I mean?
I don't care what my friends' political beliefs are, but I use it as a gauge to see how intelligent.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, for example, if I disagree with somebody's, if you're my friend, you're my friend. Even if you could tell me you're voting for Harris, I don't care.
Right.
That doesn't.
Mad at somebody for voting for Harris.
Yeah, I don't care, and I'm still going to be your friend because chances are, guess what? I don't talk about politics, so it's not even going to come up.
Exactly. Like,
so
if you don't tell me who you're voting for, I'm not asking.
Yeah, because I don't care.
I don't care.
But
what I care about is, how do I want to say it? Correcting misinformation. And I'm very passionate about correcting misinformation. And so I do get a little mouthy about that.
But to your point, though, I'm trying to tie this all together here, is that So you're talking about people saying, but that doesn't happen. It only happens on one side. That people would be so mad that you say to your friend, because you're voting a certain way, I'm not going to be your friend. You know what I mean? That doesn't normally, that's not normal. You know what I mean? That shouldn't be anybody's disposition.
Matter of fact, the couple of friends...
But you only see it on one side. You don't...
A couple of friends that I did have that were Trump supporters when Biden won, after the election, they refriended me and we talked again. They just didn't want to hear me on and on about the election.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's fair. Like, you don't want me popping up in your feed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm cool with that.
I'm not saying that every person on the left is like that. Right. I'm just saying that all of that kind of behavior comes from one.
No, this was people on the right that unfriended me during the Biden election. Because there was no hard feelings. It was political discourse. We didn't agree politically, which was cool. It was fine. But afterwards, we were adult enough to come back around. There are a few people who never came back around. And as far as that goes, like the people that were MAGA that I cut off years ago that I still haven't talked to, I watched them be shitty human beings, shittier than I've ever been, and I've watched them be mean. So, like, I should have never been friends with them to begin with. That's just...
I mean, for sure, people do that.
On both sides.
On both sides. Not anymore, though, from the right.
No, because they got the message.
And that's what I was saying. Now you only see that come from the left side.
Yeah.
And not all left people do it, but I'm just saying the most like vitriolic, hateful stuff comes from that side.
The most misinformation, the most ad hominem attacks.
I'd say there's probably equal misinformation.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's misinformation on both sides. But if you are so unintelligent that the only thing you can do is spew ad hominem attacks, and if you don't even know what that means, then you're not... Don't talk to me. Like, I want to debate. Like, I
know, but that a lot of people may not know what that means. Just tell people what it means.
It's personal character attacks, but you should be smart enough to be able to Google it if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Not everybody that we're speaking to is.
They're the ones that are...
Some of our listeners are age, technology hindered.
Ad hominem wasn't invented with the internet.
I get that, but I'm just saying.
It's a Latin word. It's been around.
Just share it with them.
However, what I'm really getting at there, though, is that a lot of people, they don't have anything else. They just want to, somebody said rage bait earlier. They just want to rage bait and be weird and say clownish things that, like, don't even matter in the Like, at the end of the day, you can call Trump every name in the book. A, it doesn't hurt him. And B, it doesn't impact the policies that are going to be impacting our lives. It doesn't even make sense. And the emotion behind it is getting a little exhausting too. I can't wait for this thing to be over.
Yeah, I'll be happy. I'm not.
Not the emotion for me, the emotion of watching people be mean to you.
No, I get it. I'm just saying the whole process of it is exhausting for the country. And the people in it. You know what I mean? It's not fun.
It's not.
I'd be very happy if we could figure out an alternative. But as the great and powerful prophet George Carlin has told us, that shall not be. We're fucked.
So fucked.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. Is that humans are horrible. There's no real way to manage them. There's no way to really manage any of it, and that it's just all constantly falling apart, even if you get it to work for a little bit. That's the sad reality.
Like a doom and gloom person.
That's what the great and powerful prophet George Carlin taught us.
So,
no.
All right, I need to talk about my AFF family for a minute because I think I started following John Paul first, and then I think probably Mama Tot and Officer Udi I went after because I'd already known who they were on Facebook. Not even going to bring up Mama Top right now. Don't get me wrapped up in any of her drama. My husband's, you can't see Scott, but he's going dark over here. He's got his hood up over his face. He's hiding. He doesn't want to talk about that. And then I saw a stitch or a duet with Austin and Ninja. And that was it for me. As soon as I found Austin, I felt like I finally found my people on TikTok. And after that, you're a weirdo. After that, it was on because bringing it full circle, we're talking about people on the left being mean. When I first got to TikTok, I did the follow trains. I was putting out 3-4 videos a day. I understood the homework assignment, right, kids? So that's a TikTok thing. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. But I wasn't getting the engagement. I did lives. I went into people's lives. I probably spent $200 dropping gifts in everybody's, and nothing. Found Austin, and I think the AFF was just blowing up whenever this happened because I came on right as Austin fucking Foreman was trending. And I started following those people, and the AFF hashtag became a thing. And now, did you ever not go to church for a long time and then you go back and everybody's just, oh, hey, we love you, we miss you, we haven't seen you. That's what it feels like for me. It feels very emotional, like I came back to church after a long time.
Yeah, I see what you're saying for sure. No, I'm just thinking because I don't know. I don't get that same feeling going back to church, but I understand what you mean by that feeling.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like for me, it's something different. Like I have an uncomfortable feeling with that, but I understand that I can relate to that because there was a time in my life where that would feel viable.
Exactly.
Because it's like a family welcoming you. It's like we talk about going home.
That's exactly what it is. It doesn't have to be church. It could be
going home.
But you haven't been home for a long time, and then all of a sudden you come back, and everybody, it's like you didn't miss a beat, like you were never gone, except for these people never knew me before when I was on the left. They are just meeting me now. Right. But it doesn't matter. None of that matters because we all vibe and click and get along and support each other. And there's like little movements popping up everywhere of this charitable thing and this cause.
I have a chart here. It's my favorite chart that shows your participate. No, I'm teasing. I just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's the thing is that one side is definitely more, the side that says they're more welcoming isn't that welcoming.
Not welcoming at all. They're only welcoming if you adopt into their
That's the whole idea is that you're only welcome if you accept these exact parameters of the relationship.
All are welcome in the light.
All are welcome in the light.
Until you're not.
But that's just it though. Again, it's like the whole, like they're claiming one thing, but in reality, they just practice something different.
Yeah.
So I got a million things.
What else do you want to talk about?
Who was your first person that you ever voted for?
The first person I ever voted for, if you don't include the mock election in 1992 where I voted for Bill Clinton because I was only 7, Barack Obama.
No, it's funny. I remember voting in my mock election when it was, I guess it was the same one, Clinton, but I was only in whatever grade. But because I remember the people that were playing, like the people, you know how you had students? Uh-huh. And part of it is if the student was just really good, they could make one of the crappier. For example, I think Ross Perot won in our school because the kid that was playing Ross Perot in the little fake debate was just so much better than the other kids that he won in the school because they were like voting off because they're kids.
I loved Ross Perot.
I love fake elections in schools.
Oh, yeah. So the first person I ever voted for was Barack Obama.
Oh, for real?
Like in a real election. Yeah. I wanted John Kerry to win, but I didn't vote. And I cried like a little baby when he lost.
I think I voted for Al Gore. my first time. Al Gore.
Yeah.
2000 election.
I don't really, again, I wasn't into politics. I was a single mom with a lot of shit going on, and I didn't care about any of that.
I think that we could vote. I don't remember. I'm Al Gore.
Al Gore.
Because I would have been,
Yeah, I voted for Barack, Hillary, Joe, and now Trump.
I voted for Gore. Who ran against George Bush in 2004? Kerry.
Yeah, John Kerry.
So Gore, Kerry, Obama twice. Regardless, anyway, we can wrap it up here. But no, I had a couple more things. What was the first memory that you had of an election going on? You remember any from your kid? Because the reason I'm saying that is because I remember when I was a kid, I just remember all the Michael Dukakis commercials.
Yeah, I do remember Michael Dukakis.
And I just remember, I don't know why, but that sticks out in my mind.
Yeah.
Is the first, and Dan Quayle.
Yeah.
For some reason, I remember they were making fun of Dan Quayle.
He couldn't spell, maybe?
Yeah, something tomatoes.
No, that was W with the potatoes, I think.
Was it?
Or was it Dan Quayle?
I thought it was Dan Quayle.
I don't remember.
The Great O debate, they called it. The Great Tato debate.
the great potato famine.
See, of course my grandma always talked about elections back in the day.
Yeah, my parents weren't political, so I didn't.
Neither was she, but she just remembered stuff like that because it was history.
Right.
It wasn't the politics of it. It was just the history of it. But yeah.
The only thing that I'm going to need you to come in and record is come into the studio and record. We don't have a studio. Not tonight, but you're going to have to get your quote. You're going to have to get a good election.
Good politicking. To
quote the great Austin fucking Foreman.
Pallets full of ballots. So here's a little segment I'd like to call Scott's Thoughts. Scott's Thoughts. And my thoughts are, so you may have seen this thing with Joe Biden where he said that he was referencing the whole Tony Hinchcliffe thing where pile of garbage or whatever. And he said that the only garbage floating around were Trump supporters. And I just like to say the only garbage floating around is the steaming pile of bullshit politicians in Washington, in a town filled with half-wit bureaucrats and horrible people. That's the only garbage out here. There's a lot of garbage, but where does it come from? It comes from all of us. That's what the system produces, to quote the great George Carlin. Garbage in, garbage out. This is what we got, folks. This is the best we can do. Huh.